What a heavenly light. Definitely not a common sight out in these parts. Well, the winter must be coming in because Mariah Carey is definitely starting to defrost. The seasons are definitely starting to change out here in the desert Southwest real fast. And for today's weather report, sometime mid-October, it is 74 degrees at about 7:30 in the morning out here in the desert Southwest. And a muggy morning it is. We've had a couple of really good rains this last week, to the point where I almost considered canceling this trip. But as usual, the weatherman isn't always right. So there were a couple tropical storms somewhere down south off the Baja, and they kind of fizzled out, but it did push a lot of moisture up north and into Arizona. But for us lowlanders, it was a good, nice soaking, nothing too crazy. There was a decent amount of flooding and stuff in the washes. But up near kind of central northern-ish Arizona, more specifically the Globe area, they got destroyed once again, unfortunately. And I'm thinking when it comes to the Globe area, while that rain gets so bad, is because it's kind of built in a valley that runs downhill. And all that water is just a big old chute running down through the town. So when we get rain, it gets pretty bad through there. Now in the area that I'm heading to, somewhere north-ish Arizona once again, because I want to get up in the cooler weather. It's still not that enjoyable down here in the desert to be out here camping. I don't think the rains are going to be too bad, although the weatherman is calling for rain sometime today into tomorrow. So it could get interesting. And as usual, I'm heading up to a familiar campground I've been to a few other times. And for all those that may be new here and just started watching, I unfortunately can't give away the campground. Due to the huge popularity and uptick in camping over the last 5 years, things are getting pretty crowded, especially out here in Arizona with so many people moving to this state. It's making it a little harder to get into some of these campgrounds. And many of these lesser unknown sites that nobody seemed to care about are now becoming way more popular than I think they should be. And I've seen way too many people and social media influencers out there that are divulging many of these locations or hidden gems out to hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people on different pages and forums. And places that were once relatively quiet or lesser known, or maybe places people generally didn't even care about, are now becoming extremely crowded. Even the off-the-grid locations. So that's why I can't always give away the camping locations or where I'm at. Plus, I've been told by many locals that they would revoke my temporary visitor card and ban me for life if I gave away some of these places and locations. But we have definitely had some pretty interesting monsoon weather out here for sure. Check this out. That looks pretty cool, those clouds rolling over those hills. And within a matter of a couple weeks, this desert has become super green. Look at that. You ever see grass out in the desert? After living out here my whole life, it's always amazing to see how life can just kind of come out of nowhere here within a matter of a couple weeks, when it looked like it was completely dead and barren and desolate for, I don't know, 8 or 10 years at a time. And for the technical stuff here, kind of a recap from the last video when it comes to charging the trailer through the 7-pin connector. When I left the last campground, I was able to see how that battery was charging after it was about half dead. I can't be exactly sure how much power the truck's putting out, but checking my battery app, the battery was taking in about 8.5 to 9 amps initially. And when the battery had been just about fully charged, I had noticed the truck started out about 3 amps and back down to about 1.5 amps or so. So I think that would indicate a charging parameter similar to when I was plugged into AC shore power, meaning the truck running back through the 7-pin cable to the trailer is most likely going through the converter in the trailer. And that converter is charging that battery at its AGM charge rate. And I've seen that usually start out pretty high like that. and then it kind of drops it down once it gets closer to about 13.4 volts or something like that. And that was with the solar controller turned off, so there was no external charging going on while I was testing that. Always looks cool when we see some low-lying clouds out here in the desert. How cool is that? Always makes that same old scenery a lot more interesting when we get weather like this. And quartzite begins to grow. And the great quartzite snowbird migration starts once again. In about 2 or 3 months, this little town of maybe, I don't know, 5,000 or 10,000 people or so will probably grow to 150 to 200,000 campers. That same old drive is looking pretty good today. Look at that. That is cool. I think the rains just came through this area. That looks so cool out there. I think it's still raining up in the hills. That rain definitely did a lot of good. Look at all these flowers growing out here. Pretty cool. I think there's a good possibility we're definitely going to see some rain on this trip. Look at all that up there. The other cool thing about fall and spring is if I leave at the right time early in the morning, by the time I get up north, the temperature pretty much has stayed the same. Into the clouds we go. That looks so cool. Man, that's wild looking. Back in the trees at 69 degrees. And it always smells so good up here. Looks like the leaves are already starting to change colors. I think we're heading for early fall this year. And as usual, I'm a little early getting up to camp, so I'm gonna go grab some groceries. I have a pretty interesting and special meal plan for one of these nights. And then I'm probably gonna grab some lunch and then we'll hit the campground. Alright, all groceryed up. Now it's time to hit the campground and break the camping laws and sneak in a little early if we can. I was originally going to go to a restaurant and grab lunch, but I decided to skip that and get some cheap grocery store pre-made food because I keep forgetting this is a holiday weekend. It is Columbus Day and things are kind of packed up here and I don't feel like waiting around. Plus it makes it kind of hard to find parking, especially with a trailer. I have been to this place quite a few times on this channel so far, and for some reason over the last few weeks it has been completely booked out. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. I don't know why. I think that's our spot over here. And oddly enough, although this is a holiday weekend, I somehow got a spot. This loop here is a little tight for larger trailers, but it can be done if you got some skill. And this is one of those older campgrounds that wasn't really designed for trailers in mind. As you can see, we're heading this direction, and the parking for this one is straight ahead. So trying to come down here, turn around, and backing a trailer up into there would be pretty difficult. But the spot I finally got is a primo spot when it comes to parking. It's a pretty cool little teardrop with a really big truck. And here's our site right here. It isn't the one I thought with the double parking, but perfect for this truck and trailer combo. Just got a backer on in there. Nice slow movements with these little trailers. Take your time. They move quick. Definitely does help to have that backup camera on the back of the trailer. It's always hard seeing out on that blind side of a turn, but I think we got it. Let's get out and take a look. Still got some room back here. All right, all ready to rock and roll. Yeah, it really does suck. They took out so much of this brush. This was like completely closed in at one time. Used to have a whole surrounding of privacy here. But nothing too crazy for lunch. I just stopped off at the wing bar at the grocery store. Or we should say hot wing flavored chicken nuggets. I also picked up some of these barbecued smoked sausages. It's not too bad. Safeway does all right. The trick is you got to get the pre-made food when it is freshly cooked early on. But as of 12 o'clock here, there is a good amount of campers. I figured it'd be a little more packed for a holiday weekend. That and with school scheduling so messed up these days, I think they have a fall break now, so they have a week off. And for some parts of Arizona, that is this week also. We'll see how it goes into today and tomorrow, but you never know. Sometimes the weekend before and after are the crowded weekends, not necessarily the holiday weekend. But for right now, I'm just gonna chillax inside. Watch the nice puffy clouds float on by. Alright, it's time to make the dinner, and I'm just going to cook inside today because I got a bunch of camp neighbors out there and I don't want to look like a nut job talking to myself outside or look like I'm talking to my food. Plus, I thought we were going to get some rain, but it hasn't happened yet. But just in case, I'll be prepared by being inside and cooking. Plus, I know how you all just love to watch somebody cook in a tiny trailer. I don't know why that is, but a lot of people want to see it happen. But this obviously isn't the good meal. This is quick and easy, and I thought this was another bagged meal by this company, but it looks like it was actually just a microwave meal, and it comes in a tray. And I'm just going to throw it in here and do it right in a pan. So, very carefully, without spraying all this stuff everywhere, I'm going to put a little Pam in the pan. Make sure that spray grease doesn't go all over my windows and everything else. Turn my roof vent on so I don't die of carbon monoxide poisoning. We're just going to run that stove kind of low medium. There's no reason to really run this super high. Gotta put in our gourmet block of frozen chicken lo mein. And this stuff is probably the best stuff to probably cook in a tiny kitchen or trailer like this because you really just got to warm it up. So I hope none of you out there hold me to it. This technically isn't really cooking, I guess, in your trailer. It's just warming something up once again, but good enough. I'm going to go ahead and add in a little extra spice, because I already know it needs it. Back that temp down a little. That way we don't splatter all over the place. I'll try to give you a better view of what that actually looks like with somebody standing at this tiny kitchen. But it works out just as intended. I only like to use this thing if the weather's bad, or I just don't feel like going outside and cooking. And our freshly frozen gourmet chicken chow mein here is just about ready. Oh, and before I forget, always make sure you retract your blinds so you don't melt them. Leave your front window cracked. And I did have somebody ask me what the heck this was here and why I wasn't concerned with it lighting on fire. And that's a really thin piece of silicone mat, so I'm not too worried about that. It shouldn't catch on fire anyway. And it just sticks itself to the top of this glass thing, and that's not going to go down till this whole stove's cooled off anyway. So I'm not too concerned with that. Maybe one day we'll cut a piece off and throw it in the fire and see if it does melt for the heck of it. I'm going to stick you guys over here in the window so you can sit across from me. Almost forgot my drink. Well, it's not much of a view, but it's a view. Let's see how this freshly frozen chicken chow mein came out here. It's okay. I think it's lacking some serious flavor. I'm gonna have to add some more salt. I still think the bagged Mountain House beat the frozen foods any day. But I did notice as I was kind of pre-editing this video, my speech has been really jacked up today. I'm a little burned out, and I think allergies have been getting to me. You can probably tell I got a little redness in here in the eye. So I don't know what the heck's going on with that. I've had it checked out, and the eye doctor gave me an antibiotic. I guess it was a sty at one time, but I've had this problem on and off, and they pretty much don't know what the heck it is other than maybe allergies and one of my ducts is getting plugged. But the odd thing is, when I leave home for more than a couple days, everything just clears up. So maybe it is allergies. I am not really impressed with this chicken lo mein. Definitely needs some soy sauce. And this metal spork or fapoon here is probably going to make quite the racket. It sounds like I'm grinding my teeth with this thing when it's on camera. So I'm not 100% sure on tomorrow's activities. It's all weather dependent. I do really want to get in some radio controlled RC crawling. I'm in the prime location for that. I think I'm actually going to go out to a place for lunch instead. And for tomorrow's dinner, it's going to be a weird mix and collaboration of the dinner from the last trip. As I was eating those jalapeno popper corn chips with that chicken and dumplings, I came up with a pretty good idea, I think. And while I'm at it, I wanted to show you the lighting difference here in the tab. Somebody had said that this lighting, this underglow, looked harsh, but it's actually really soft. And then the little lights they put in the back here are actually more of a natural, regular bulb color. So you can choose between the two. And that's how you know I'm pretty tired. I got this thing fully wide open. All right, folks. I'm going down early tonight. I'll see you all in the AM. Must have fell asleep with my eyes open again. Oh man, that was a weird sleep. A lot of strange rains on and off last night. How did this camera get turned on? I always think it's kind of goofy and funny how you watch other people's videos and the camera's just on as they're tucked into bed and they're waking up like it just happened to happen. Who knows, maybe they have an automatic set where the camera turns on and their alarm clock goes off at the same time. I don't know. Oh, let's take a look outside. Looks pretty good. We got a pretty good amount of rain for about 2 hours. Pretty much on and off, really consistently. Like you guys don't know what it looks like outside already. But we'll see. They're saying we're about to get some rains here pretty soon. But I'll tell you what, man, it's always cool being up here at the high altitudes in the mountains. These clouds move quick. And for breakfast today, it's just going to be light and simple and quick with some of this maple brown sugar oatmeal, some of my fresh ground Mesa Verde coffee. And what I'm going to do with the coffee today, because I could not find horchata in the area, is I'm going to add a little cream. I found some of the cinnamon toast crunch seasoning, and I'm going to add that to it. In some places down south or at home, they do horchata in coffee, and it's really good. And for those that never had horchata, it's kind of like a cold rice milk drink with a little cinnamon in it. It's very good. And it is very good in coffee, especially since it's fall, and I'm not a pumpkin spice kind of guy. I'm going to add a little of the cinnamon toast spice right to the oatmeal. That tastes great. Oh, it is definitely a good morning for some coffee. About 53% humidity inside and 99 outside because it left the sensor out in the rain, and you're not supposed to do that. But it's probably close to 90% humidity, of course, because it did rain. And the rains are starting again. I don't think they're going to last too long today, though, so we'll see if we can get in some RC crawling later. And it's time to rearrange this kitchen once again. It's what you have to do in a tiny kitchen. Kind of tricking the system here by adding a little cream and that spice to get it to taste like a horchata. And I'm not sure how much of this I'm going to need to get that effect. Let's see how it is. It's close. Needs a little more cream, maybe a little bit more sugar and some of that spice. Welcome to Arizona, where it's raining while the sun's shining. It's always weird, huh? That's pretty good. It's close to horchata and coffee, but if you have the chance, I really recommend finding some horchata, adding that to your coffee. May need a pinch more sugar versus sweet coffee, but I'll tell you what, it's really good. And oatmeal's oatmeal. Not much to say about that, except it'll make a good turd. Oh, I need to wake up. My speech and my brain are seriously glitching today. A serious case of the brain farts. And what's really nice is being able to have this thing fully opened up. I don't even need to have the screens up right now because the bugs aren't even that bad at all today. They weren't even that bad last night. Of course, certain areas of the state it can be a little more buggy than others. And we're coming into fall, and in certain elevations it's getting cooler, so the bugs are going away. But I did notice our camp neighbor with the F-250 and that pretty neat little teardrop took off real early. When I was taking out the trash last night, I stopped over and asked him about it, and he let me check out his little teardrop. And I'll tell you what, that thing was cool. That was built pretty darn good, man. I think it's called a Hero camper or Hero trailer, and I forgot, they're made in some other country, but extremely well built. I think the whole thing is composite on an aluminum frame. And it looked like a better torsion axle underneath it, so maybe it's a little more off-roady, but very simplistic. Metal drawers, cabinets in there. The taillights were kind of like seam molded into the creases into the back, real slick. Kind of a plainer model. He didn't get a refrigerator, but he got a rooftop tent and an awning. And I think the company had kind of messed up when they decided to market here in the States. And they pushed him out to too many big RV dealerships. And right now, if you look up that camper, you may be able to find those for anywhere from $25,000 down to about $12,000. He said he picked that thing up for about $11,000, and that is incredible for the kind of build quality that offered. Some similar companies would probably be close to, I don't know, $30,000 or $40,000, believe it or not. Just because these trailers are smaller doesn't mean they get cheaper. It's always kind of cool just leaning over in your bed, being able to hang out one window or the other. This exact reason right here is why I decided to buy a tiny trailer. After years of tent camping and being stuck under a leaky Easy Up and hiding out in a tent or in my vehicle, I decided it was enough of that. In the years past that you didn't get to see, probably over the last 5 years or so, about every other week I would go camping, and I used to just tent camp. And no matter what part of the state I went, I would get rain. I think I counted all but 7 days over, I think, a 3-year period that I didn't get rained on at least one of those days when I was out camping. Ironically, it was in this exact same month and time of year I was getting rained on, and it was cold up here, man. And I decided it was time to go looking for trailers. Well, it's time to get cleaned up and ready, but before I do that, I wanted you guys to listen to the new modification first. I found a new kind of fan to put in my makeshift cassette toilet exhaust system here. Listen to this thing. I'll spare you from the grossness when I open the hatch, but you can really hear it right now. This thing is really sucking some stink out now. Got somebody running their generator, but I want to show you what that sounds like from outside. It is quite a bit noisier. And a while back you may have noticed that my switch I put in here was actually blue. And it finally took a crap on me, literally. They're supposed to be water resistant or waterproof, and they aren't really. So my solution for that when I'm taking a shower to keep water from landing in this, an old 20-ounce cap from a bottle of soda. I just set it right on top. Keeps the water from splashing into it. I'm not quite sure if that's going to do the trick or not, if I have a full cassette during transport to keep the smell out of the trailer or not. But if it doesn't, then nothing will. That thing is sucking some serious air, man. The only downfall so far is it's a little noisier. It's good that I can actually hear that it's on this time, but it sounds like a low-level vacuum when things are real quiet at night. Then again, that only goes on when I'm using it, or when this trailer is going to be in transit to the dump station or something. I'll tell you right now, it's working pretty good. It's like a little airplane toilet. You can feel a little of that suction and cooling action passing by you, if you know what I mean. And believe it or not, that is actually working better than having a actual bathroom exhaust fan. So that's pretty cool. And the way I use it is I open the flapper and I do my business. So it just pulls all the smell out right there and then. Then I'll close the flapper and rinse it down and then flush. That way you use a little less water and it just keeps pulling the smell right out. It's pretty cool. But you're gonna have to wait to the next video to see if that actually helped after I go to the dump station at the end of this trip. And although there is a similar system like that called an SOG system out there that I think is only available in the UK, it's pretty hard to get in the States. Once I figure this all out, I should probably build, market, and sell that thing, at least for that style of Thetford cassette toilet. Because I already know, once I come up with one of these weird inventions or an idea, the next thing you know, someone's going to come out with it before I did. But if this works, what I may do is put together the correct parts list and what you need to do, and just give it all out to you that may have this bathroom as a DIY project. And by the way, while I'm at it on this technical stuff and modifications of RV crap and whatnot, I do want to say I've only been doing the travel trailer RV thing here about 2 years now. And this is my first trailer, so I'm no guru or expert or specialist in any of this junk. But there are a lot of things I've done over time when it comes to modifying and fixing a lot of things. Plus, being a car guy, you become kind of a jack of all trades, and you get into all kinds of stuff and become a crazy gear junkie. But what I want to know is there anything tab trailer related or camping related that you would like to know about? I'd be more than glad to do a video on any of this stuff, or how-tos, or answer some questions if I can. Or maybe even point you in the direction of a previous video that I've already explained some of this stuff. So leave a comment on what you would like to know or see. I will probably roll it into a camping video. I really do need to do just some long how-to videos, but the problem with that is those don't do very well on the viewership. And it kind of kills the YouTube algorithm, and then YouTube starts throttling down all the rest of your videos because they don't deem it as popular enough to push out there, which kind of sucks. But it is what it is. And I'd also like to know, doing a video and sound check here, how are things coming out on your side? I've noticed watching on different TVs and devices that sometimes the video looks a little more blown out, meaning really bright, and then some TVs it looks crystal clear. Sometimes the sound is just right, and sometimes it doesn't sound like it's loud enough. But let me know what you're seeing and hearing out there. And I almost forgot the latest Gear Tech edition here. I found some cabling I think I like for the external solar panel. I picked this up on Amazon. It's not quite ideal to the specs I wanted, but I think it's going to work out. I've tested it once and everything seemed fine, but I needed this style of 8mm barrel connector to plug into my Blue Eddy to charge it. So I got a new version of that. The one that came with the Blue Eddy, it looked like these wires were about half of that size, so at least this is better. Although I think this is what is that, 12 AUG, which should be doable for this power output. And those go into MC4 connectors, which are really nice because these are way better weather sealed, although they are a pain to get apart. And then I got the big half here in a 20-foot extension, and they do some odd stuff here. They're starting out with 10 AUG, and then inside here it goes down to 14. So I'm kind of funneling my way down here. It isn't the proper way to do it, but by length and the power output of this, it should be fine. But I really like this cabling a lot better. It only has those splits to the MC4 connectors, and it's just one single cable like an extension cord. And why I like that better is, number one, you can see this thing. It's not two parts. And if this thing gets dirty, it's a lot easier just to grab a towel and run it over it, clean it up before I pack it away. And like you had seen in the last video, I still retained this, which is just 12 AUG. And this connector runs into an SAE to this extension cord. And I have to use this so I can plug in the Blue Eddy style right into that. But that gives me another 20 feet right to the SAE port that I have on the Tab solar charge controller. Or I can just pop this adapter off if I don't need to run that many feet of cable to get my solar panel out, and just plug it into that connector and run this directly into the Tab's SAE port to the solar charge controller. I personally don't like this style of plug, but that's what comes on my version of the Blue Eddy. So that isn't ideal for making connections, especially when you start upping the voltage or amperage. But I think for this application it'll work out fine. All I need to do is make sure that none of this wire is getting hot, or these connections are getting hot when this thing's charging up the trailer battery. And for those that don't understand any of this wiring junk, the more feet of wire you run, you're going to need a thicker set of wires. The way to think of electrical is like water in a pipe. The smaller the wire and more power running through here is going to put a lot of heat into this, a lot of pressure. It's trying to flow through. So you want a bigger pipe or bigger wire so it's easier for that electricity to flow down the line. Also, at a certain amount of feet, if you don't have thick enough cable, you'll have a power line drop. So there'll be resistance going through here, and you'll be losing some of that charging energy that you need. But I'm definitely liking this style of cord and its simplicity a lot better. And like I said, if I really need to get that solar panel way out and out of the shade and in the sun, I can use this extra 20 feet. That'll give me a total of 40 feet. Right here is the cable that came with the factory Blue Eddy panel. And I want to show you the line size difference on the factory Blue Eddy one and the one I bought. So check that out. That is a heck of a difference right there. I'll probably put a link in the description box for that solar cable if you're interested. But I'd like to test that a little more, especially with that 200 watt panel and the power that it puts out, just to make sure everything is good, safe, and efficient. If anything, I may lose a few watts coming down the line, but there are calculators online where you can put in your power parameters there to line size and figure out what you need by voltage and electricity type, being DC or AC, and you can kind of figure things out that way. I'm almost 100% sure that's going to be fine and work out just right for what I'm doing. But if I were going to, I don't know, tie in a second 200 watt panel or really start pushing more power down the line, I'd want to go down to at least a 10 AUG cable on that if I could. Alright, well, I think the RC crawling is going to be a bust again this trip. These little storms keep rolling in on and off, and although my crawler is 100% water resistant, it's not fun to go crawling on slippery rocks. So I think what I'm going to do is run into town, grab a bite to eat, and then I'm going to head on back and hopefully make a pretty good dinner. But you know what is nice? The majority of the campground totally cleared out. And as usual, when I booked, most of these sites were taken up, but only half of them were filled yesterday. But I'm guessing the weather probably scared a lot of people away this weekend. This must be the right place. They got an Acura NSX and a Porsche sitting outside. That was a pretty good turkey bacon avocado panini. Also got like mixed berry lemonade with it. That was pretty good. Just a nice light lunch, and now I'm gonna head back to camp. Since it's been kind of drizzling on and off most of the day, I'm gonna relax and then make some dinner. And once again, we're doing dinner inside. This is going to be kind of like chicken and dumplings, but I want to do it loaded jalapeno popper style. At the last camp, I was eating that bag of chicken and dumplings and dipping in my jalapeno popper flavored corn chips, and I thought, I bet a loaded jalapeno popper chicken and dumpling soup would be awesome. So I'm going to try to do that, and I'm going to try to do it in a camping way with some pretty easy to bring ingredients. Maybe a little more food stable for camping anyway. And this is going to be nothing elaborate, so it makes it easy and quick. First thing I need to do is slice up my jalapeno. And I'm going to take out all the veins in the seeds because I don't want this soup being hot. Sometimes these fresh jalapenos can have quite a kick. And this one has some pretty good veining and seeding going on, so we need to get rid of all that. Now, if you want it spicier, you can leave a little of this in. I'd rather add this in later than it be too late and too spicy later on. I'm just going to leave very few seeds in here just to get a little heat out of that. Then I'm going to come back and kind of cut our jalapeno into little tiny cubes. Now, I'm not sure if this recipe exists. This is something I thought of last minute at the last camp. And I'm kind of making this up as I go. But I do watch a lot of Cowboy Kent videos. And if you've never watched Cowboy Kent Rollins, I highly recommend it. He does some really good cowboy chuck wagon cooking. And ironically enough, last week he had an episode where he made some easy chicken and dumplings, and he just used some of these Grand's biscuits to make the dumplings. Alright, our jalapeno is all chopped up and diced into little pieces. So I pre-oiled this pot up, just so nothing sticks too much in there. And the first thing I'm going to add in is some of this pre-cooked diced bacon. Probably the whole bag. And I'm just going to let this bacon toast up a little in the pot. And now that the bacon has cooked down a little bit, release some of that delicious bacon grease and gotten a little crispy because nobody wants rubbery bacon. Now I'm going to throw in my jalapeno and give that a light fry. And make sure your vent's on because this is going to create some killer mustard gas in here. It'll choke you out. Now that our jalapenos are all baked up, I'm going to dump in some of this chicken stock. I don't have any exacts on this, I just make it up as I go. Looks about right. And for a little extra added protein, I'm going to add in 1 can of chicken breast. And from the get-go, I'm going to add a little salt, pepper, and garlic. The nice thing about making a soup is, if you start out with it plain, you can always keep adding to it to get it right. Just don't add a lot in the beginning, because you can't subtract that. Now I'm just going to let all that simmer together, and then we'll come back, and instead of adding cream, I'm going to add cream cheese to the mix. I'm going to get an avocado split in half. Very carefully pre-cube this up while it's still in the skin or husk, whatever you want to call it, without cutting through into your hand. And this will make that job afterwards very easy. I'm going to set that aside till after. Looks like our broth is almost done. So now I'm going to add some cream cheese in. And once again, I'm not quite sure how much. We'll start out with about a half of it and see how that goes. It's kind of hard making a meal for one sometimes. We're just going to stir our cream cheese in. And it looks like our cream cheese is just about melted down in there. So now it is time to add the biscuits. It's like a ticking time bomb, man. These things are always fun. I'm using buttermilk biscuits. And all I'm going to do is pull a chunk at a time and toss them right in. So once again, I'm not sure how many dumplings we need in here. I think I'm going to use 2 biscuits worth. Yeah, what the heck. We'll go with 3. I'm not sure you can use these after this, but I'm going to try to tomorrow. Now we got to give this a stir. Make sure our dumplings are getting boiled up in here. Alright, it's been about 15 minutes since our dumplings have been boiling in here. Let's see how it looks. Oh, beautiful. I'm surprised that even worked out. Now, before we're finished, we give this a little taste. Because now is the time to add if we have to add. That is absolutely delicious, and I don't even have to touch that. In fact, I probably could have skipped out on the salt, but it's not overly salty. Now I'm going to pull this off the stove. Although you could keep it on this thing on super low just to keep your soup warm or anything warm, but we need counter space. That looks absolutely delicious. Wow. And I didn't even need a thickening agent. The biscuits did the work at the end. And 1 jalapeno was definitely more than enough, by the way. It looks like we'll have just over 1 bowl of soup, so that's pretty good. And now we go the extra mile here and try to make it look pretty. I'm going to take a little bit of the shredded jack, some of our avocado, and some tortilla strips. What do you think of that? For our camp soup, that looks pretty good. Once again, I'm going to set you guys out here on the window. Man, this lagoon table is neat, I'll tell you that. Now you guys get a little better view today. I also found this really cool double insulated cup. Oh, the moment of truth. Let's see. Let's get a little bit of everything in here. Jalapeno popper, chicken and dumplings. That is really, really good. I'm not even lying. You'll have to try to replicate that one at home. And it was a good thing I pulled most of those seeds and veins out of the jalapeno, or else it would have been way too spicy. So what you're probably going to do is, we'll just say use a whole block of that Philadelphia cream cheese, a whole thing of chicken stock, a larger can of pre-cooked shredded chicken, maybe 2 of those bags of bacon, and a jalapeno or 2, and that should give you enough for probably 3, maybe 4 people. And a little of that shredded cheese and avocado and tortilla chips really kick this thing up Southwest style. Got a few more of these tortilla chips on there. And I'm not lying, guys. That came out excellent. Sometimes I surprise myself. And what you could do to make that even better, put a little less of the dumplings in the soup itself. Cook yourself some biscuits on the side and break them up as you eat your soup. With the tortilla strips, avocado, and cheese on top, this is tasting like a mixture of chicken and dumplings, chicken tortilla soup, and a jalapeno popper. So far today it's been a little dreary with the clouds, but not bad. It cooled down a lot. But unfortunately the winds started kicking up and down and gusting a bit. Later on tonight into tomorrow, they're calling for anywhere from 20 to 30 mile an hour winds and up to 40 mile an hour gusts. Always driving into the winds when I'm towing. It's probably going to be a pretty strenuous drive home tomorrow. It all depends on the wind direction. I think the winds are finally starting to shift out of the north, and that means winter's coming. Whenever those north winds start coming down, it means the cool down's coming. Two thumbs up on that. Wow. Oh man, I'll tell you what, that was an excellent dinner. I would definitely give that one a try. But I am getting tired, and as usual, this video is running way too long, so I guess it's time to call it an end. Overall, not a bad little trip. It's actually been really relaxing having the clouds and rain come in. I've just been kind of chilling out in the trailer. I did sit outside in the chair for a little bit until it got too windy. But sometimes not doing much at all is a good thing and a much needed thing. Hopefully on the next trip out, I'll do something a little more exciting for you. And I'm thinking that'll be in a couple weeks. Maybe even sooner. I still need to do a 2-year final tab review. And Halloween's coming up, so maybe I'll do some kind of Halloween special and tell you about all the scary stories and things I've seen out here camping. Alright everyone, I got a long haul tomorrow, and it's probably going to be a very gusty, windy, sketchy drive back. So I definitely need to get some rest. Once again, thank you all for watching, liking, commenting, and subscribing. That's greatly appreciated. And I do want to point out, this camp dinner was brought to you by Mr. Randy Johnson. Thank you for the donation, buddy. You didn't have to do that, but that is greatly appreciated. Thank you once again. Hopefully you all liked this episode, and if you like this one, there's plenty more down the line if you go back in time. So thank you all one last time, and we'll see you in the next adventure.